Welcome back to the gun dungeon, guys. Still loading up on some of these 300 blackouts. Been a while since I've been able to reload or do one of these reloading and ramblings. Just the way it works, man, all that good stuff. But here we are. We're here today. And today I want to talk about 40 Smith & Wesson. Why 40 Smith & Wesson? It's really kind of perplexing to me, the evolution of the popularity of 40 Smith & Wesson. Because, you know, there was a time several years ago where I didn't have 10 millimeter. I didn't really have a whole lot of cartridges anyways, overall. But I didn't have 10 millimeter. I didn't have a 40 Smith & Wesson. I think I had a couple 45, some 9s, 357 Magnum, 38 Special. And that was really about it. And it seemed like everything was 40 Smith & Wesson. And all the guns were offered in 40. It was just seemed like everything was geared around 40 Smith & Wesson. And at that time, it's like, I don't have any answer. It's a question or answer to a question that was never asked. But I was just ignorant. And now, you know, that popularity, everybody shot a 40. And really, I didn't really get into 40 until I started shooting competition. And then I realized in USPSA, 40 is kind of the creme de la creme because you shoot major power factor, which means you get scored a little easier. It doesn't recoil all that much more than 9mm in my opinion, and you still got good capacity in the firearm. So it was really, that was the king of USPSA. It still is, but I'm just saying that was where it opened my eyes to 40 Smith & Wesson. So if you're a competition guy, you already know 40 is still very viable for that, if nothing else. But the popularity of the round in general just kind of fell flat on its face once police, I don't know if the Fed switched first or if it was most police agencies or whatever. But anyway, law enforcement in general got away from 40 and went back to 9mm. I'm assuming mainly for cost, because there's no terminal performance advantage to go to 9mm over 40. If anything, you're losing some terminal performance. You may gain some capacity, but that's a whole different argument. But yeah, once that happened, it was like everything just went away. And I think I even saw somebody, I don't know if it's true or not, that Glock was no longer offering a bunch of the 40 cal options. So, I mean, who knows? But I do know that most of your popular newer guns that have came out recently in the last 5 to 8 years or so have all been 9mm only. P365, the Glock 43, 43X, you know, the Hellcats, the Shields, Pluses. You do have a Shield 40 still. Smith & Wesson's one of the few that's still cranking out some 40s, but 40 Smith & Wesson, it kind of makes sense why they would. But I don't know, man. It's like, to me, now that I've got 40, I reload for 40, I enjoy the cartridge. I know its terminal abilities as far as performance-wise. You don't really lose a whole lot in terms of capacity. So to me, I'm grabbing these ones with military crimp primers. To me, it's like, you know, I see its merits. And I would love to have a P365 XL with 40 that maybe only held 10 rounds. I would give up 2 rounds to go to 40 in that same size gun. Or a Glock 43X with 9 rounds, which is doable because, you know, the Glock 27, Glock 26, same size everything. The 26 held 10 plus 1, the 27 was 9 plus 1, so same amount of space there, whether it's more vertical or double stack, doesn't matter, same space. So it's doable. That would be doable. I keep grabbing the ones with all the military crimp primers. But to me, that would be ideal. You get a little bit more horsepower, a little bit more terminal performance, and I just don't see how a bigger heavier bullet going faster could ever be worse? How is that a bad thing? Really, the only downfall with 40 over 9 is capacity and maybe, if you're sensitive to it, recoil. Other than that, there's nowhere else you're losing. So I don't understand this aversion to it and why everybody all of a sudden just hates it. Like, do people really have that much of a follow me sheep mentality where, oh, the police went away from it, so we got to go away from it too? Like, that's kind of mind boggling to me, that especially the gun community, which is kind of, a pretty hard nosed, defy most rules type people, to have that much of a follow the leader mindset. I don't know. Kind of mind-boggling to me. But I like the 40, and I would like to see 40 start making a comeback. And here's another perk too. 40 in most. Let's just look at Glocks for example. A Glock 23, compact, 40 cal, but with the change of a barrel and sometimes a magazine. It can be a 357 SIG, it can be a 9mm, it can be a 40. Got 3 options right there in one. But a Glock 19, same size, everything, gun, 9mm, factory 9mm, can only be a 9mm. It can't go the other way. And a lot of that has to do with your breech face and your extractor and all that. But, a 40 and a 357 SIG have the same case head. So you don't have to worry about the extractor there. And going from a 40 to a 9, the barrel is kind of offset a little bit to work with the same extractor. But you can't do that going from 9 to 40. So you got options there. I'm a fan of options. So anyways, but yeah, that's my thoughts on 40 Smith & Wesson. I don't see how it's lost so much popularity. I mean, there's always been a 9 versus 40 thing, but it used to be heavily 40 and now it's heavily 9mm. And the only thing that really changed was law enforcement agencies going from one to the other. It didn't change as far as power, efficiency, capacity. Nothing changed as far as that. We just followed the leader. And to me, it's like, wow. I don't know. I tend to do the opposite, but that's just what happened. So anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Till next time, guys, stay tuned.